Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show. We'll cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we'll give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got another interesting show for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. So Stephen A. Smith is back at it again. All right, just yesterday he had an appearance on the Dan Lebron show. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I know he made some comments about Shannon Sharpe being fired from ESPN. I also know he spoke about the role Skip Bayless played in the resurrection of his career. But Stephen A. Smith made a bunch of headlines this year for a few reasons. The first one, or the major one, was when he signed his $100 million extension with ESPN. But the one after that was followed by an altercation that took place in the end of the third quarter with himself and LeBron James on the sideline at the Lakers game, where LeBron James confronted him. And if you look at the video from what we all saw, LeBron was essentially saying, keep my son's name out of your mouth. Don't talk about my son, blah, 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 blah. And then Stephen A. Smith was like, what are you talking about, blah, blah, blah. So Stephen A. Smith goes on various shows, Gil's Arena, and basically says that what LeBron James did in his eyes was a sucker move. That he was using his son as an excuse to get to him because he never really said anything negative about Bronny James. So this morning, I was going through the internet here and I came across an article from Basketball Network. Yeah, basketballnetwork.net. And it says, this is the only time I've ever spoken a negative syllable against Bronny. Stephen A. Smith exclaims he isn't a Bronny James hater. So let's get into this. What this article says. This Stephen A. Smith says he never criticized Bronny until he had a terrible game against the Sixers. Now, before I continue on, I just want to say that that is true. All right, that is true. And Stephen A. Smith even went out of his way to even talk about Bronny at all. Forget about criticizing him. He went out of his way to not even talk about Bronny. So that is a fact. It then continues on. ESPN Stephen A. Smith was interviewed by his former network colleague Dan Lebron and latter's Dan Lebron show on Thursday, and among the things Lebron asked Smith was about his relationship with LeBron James after making a strong stand on a topic at Gil's Arena recently. According to Smith, his affinity with King James soured after he started criticizing his son Bronny. However, Stephen A. Smith insisted that he never said a single bad word against LeBron's son until that fatal game against the Philadelphia 76ers that triggered LeDad to confront him at a courtside during the Lakers game last March at Crypto.com Arena. Then continues on. The one thing I'll say is go back and look at the facts, Smith said. Him in high school, him in college, him being drafted, him landing with the Lakers, him being there on opening night. I never said a negative word until he was put in that game in the first quarter against the Philadelphia 76ers and got scorched. This is the only time I've spoken a negative syllable against Bronny James, who I believe has the potential to be not just a player, but a damn good player someday. James Jr. struggled badly when Reddit gave him meaningful minutes. Smith is talking about the game between the Lakers and the 76ers in Philly on January 28, 2025. In that game, the purple and gold were dealing with injuries to their guards, so with the Sixers racing to a 17-9 lead early in the first quarter, head coach J.J. Redick inserted Bronny into the game because he had been coming off a 31-point game in the G League. However, LeBron Jr. Melted during an extended 15 minutes appearance, shooting 0-5 from the floor and committing 3 turnovers. Sixers guard Tyrese Maxey attacked him on every occasion, and either he scored on Bronny, got called for a foul. The Lakers ended up losing the game 104-118, but more than the defeat, it was James Jr.'s performance that was heavily criticized. And so LeBron went about the business of painting it as me being somebody that would go after his son, and got other NBA players to think that way and stuff like that. And that's what he chose to do. I know it's false. I know it's not fair. I don't appreciate it, but it's not going to stop me from living my life. He got his family. I got mine. He got his job. I got mine. And when he does great things, I'll be there to applaud it. And when he doesn't, I'll be there to chronicle that too. And that's going to be that. And that's the way it goes. And I can assure you, I'm not losing a minute's sleep over it, and never will, he added. So that's what Stephen A. Smith had to say. Now, I want to go back to my initial comments about what I said before I started reading the article. That is a fact. Stephen A. Smith went out of his way to not talk about Bronny James, analyze him whatsoever, which I thought was him admitting that he wasn't even doing his job, which to LeBron should have indicated that, hey, man, I'm here to kiss your butt. I'm here to kiss your butt, man. I'd even made it clear that I'm going to talk about every other player in the NBA, but because you're LeBron James, I'm not going to talk about your son. And LeBron saw all of that and said, and that's what you're supposed to do. I'm LeBron. So the minute Stephen A. Smith said what he said about Bronny after that game, we all remember that, LeBron took it that this guy has not shown me any support whatsoever. That's LeBron. LeBron strikes me as one of those people that if you can do 1,000 nice things for him and show him loyalty 1,000 times, but the first time you don't show him loyalty, he no longer can trust you, and that's what happened. But the fact of the matter is, Stephen A. Smith was saying what everybody saw. Right? He was saying what everybody saw. Now, LeBron could possibly be looking at it from the context of you saying, like, bro, you're the reason that he's being put in this position. And probably LeBron looked at it and it was like, and this is how I'm going to interpret it. LeBron probably felt that Stephen A. Smith was criticizing him for his parenting style or being a bad parent. And I think probably that's what triggered LeBron. And from that standpoint, I think that will trigger anybody, right? Two ways you want to offend people: tell them how to raise their kids and tell them how to spend their money. And I think the latter is the first one is the one that really pisses people off. Once you start telling them how to raise their kids, good luck with that, right? People get very, 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 very defensive. Now, LeBron used Bronny as a conduit to now attack Stephen A. Smith, but in reality, Stephen A. Smith wasn't attacking Bronny. He was just stating what he saw. The fact that he made that connection to say, LeBron, do something, I think is what created an avenue for LeBron to now go after him, right? But LeBron himself has to understand, when you welcome the idea of the first father and son duo in the NBA, you're now going to be, it's part of the game, bro. This is par for the course. So for LeBron to now get upset and this and this and this, bro, look, that's what it's going to be. Now, if I said that, it doesn't matter. If the next YouTuber said that, it doesn't matter. If this guy said that, it doesn't matter. But if Stephen A. Smith says it, then it does matter, which means that regardless of how these guys claim to feel about Stephen A. Smith, one thing they do feel is that they feel that he is important, right? Or they feel that the platform that he has is big. So whether or not I like him or not, I still have to ensure that I curtail what's being said about me on his platform. So you may think whatever you think of him, but you understand that he's in a power position. And therefore, I have to be ready to push back whenever he says something that I believe steps over the line, or confront him in situations where I just feel like I don't like you and I'm going to let it be known. Now, LeBron made it his business. He knew that Stephen A. Smith had signed that contract, and he wanted to just ruin his day. And that's exactly what he did. Now, the part about where Stephen A. Smith said in when I read it, that, LeBron went behind my back and was getting other NBA players to not talk to me and this and this and this and this. I didn't know all of that, bro. Those are the inner workings and the politics of it all. It is what it is. The players are going to side with LeBron anyway because he's a player, and they're going to side with him. The same way media members most likely will side with one another. But that's what Stephen A. Smith had to say, and y'all let me know what you think about it in the comment section. We catch you on the next show.